Hi, Super Dan here. When I did my video on the Aberdeen Code double action, I asked for listener requests, and Clark had asked about range. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go over how I look at range. And the first thing that I want to describe is that whenever I do stick sparring, and yes, I do stick sparring, I do combatic type of stick sparring. There are the drills that you can go back and forth and you can trade and you can develop a lot of sensitivity attributes, timing, and that sort of thing. But I also get into free play. And when I get into free play, this is where my experience as a regional, national, and world karate point champion really comes into play. Because when I play with stick sparring, what I do is I look at as if I'm actually holding the real weapon and we do not have armor on. If you look at the historical perspective of any of the stick duels back in the Philippines, they weren't wearing protective padding. That came in when Arnis and Kali and Eskrima started becoming more of a sport play, and the practitioners were geared up. They were using live sticks, but they had helmets and they had all sorts of battle armor on. And that changed the flavor, creating a sporting event from the combative situation. And when you look at, again, like I said, the historical perspective, stick fights were measured in seconds, not minutes, not rounds, etc. Seconds. Somebody had delivered a telling blow, whether they did a defang on the hand or they cracked the person upside the head, or the seconds would rush in and they would stop the fight, declare the winner. Okay, this is how I look at stick sparring in my school. Now, the nice thing about Y2K technology is that instead of sparring with a live stick and going all out, you can use padded canes, and which isn't the same as a live stick. So if I get criticisms on that, okay, no harm, no foul. But what I do is when we use the padded sticks, first off, I don't use any armor. So there's not even the hand protection, there's not the head protection, etc. I try and make it as real as possible. Now, and the second thing is that I don't go for meat targets. I go for bone targets. Something that will shatter upon impact, but not with a padded cane, of course. Then it becomes more real in my eyes. So when we start looking at range or start looking at distancing, this is the premise where I'm coming from. So we'll go on to that first. Now, thanks to Y2K technology, I can do this where I have this handsome lad in front of me and I can demonstrate a little bit on range. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the kind of technology where I can really overlap, so there's still going to be a little bit of a range discrepancy when I demonstrate this, but you'll be able to get the idea. Now, the first thing is when I look at range, I look at my position, my sparring position, and I hold my hands very, very close. Now, if you look at this young lad over here, you'll see where he's either holding his arms in a certain position or he's waving his arms around, etc. But the thing is there's a target, the hands, that are actually out there. And if I get a chance, bang, I can hit the hand. Now, the second thing I look at, and I'm just going to use one tactic which was beautifully outlined in Minamoto Musashi's Book of Five Rings, sen no sen, attack the attack. When I'm here, what I'm watching for is when he's going to advance. The moment he advances, bang, I come in and hit. Now, when I do this, I'll actually extend my stick farther out this way, but for the sake of the camera and the sake of what I'm trying to illustrate, I'm going to keep it somewhat vertical so I can get a little bit closer to the head. But what I'm watching for, I'm watching the shoulders. The shoulders start to move, start to tweak. Notice how my back leg is, my back heel is up. I might be doing a little bit of motion here, but when the guy first starts to come forward, bang, I go for it and I hit. When I do this, I don't go step and then hit. I don't go wind up and hit. With my arms in this position, they're already spring loaded to shoot. So all I have to do is, again, he steps in, bang, go in and hit like this. So, I hope I've given you an idea of one of my tactics when I engage in stick sparring. Play with this either at home or in your school, and if you like, send in any feedback, send in any questions. I'll be happy to go over anything with you. Super Dan over and out.